Peace, everyone. This is Coach Gus Gauntlett. Before we hop into episode 3, I really think it's important to address the police shooting that happened a couple of days ago and the shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. For anyone that follows basketball, you've seen there's lots of immediate response in terms of boycotting the playoff games yesterday, which is really unprecedented. And I think it's, this episode that I'm about to show was filmed last week prior to this shooting. And so I didn't really feel right putting this episode out without addressing what happened. And really just using this time to really implore other coaches to use this as an opportunity to really make sure that you are talking to your young people about what is happening in the world, especially around police violence and how it affects everyone, but specifically Black people. As a white coach like myself, I'm in a position of privilege because of my skin color. And, if I'm ever in a position where I'm coaching African-American players, it's really, really important that I understand the importance of anti-racism in my practice as a coach. And also, part of that is holding space for Black players and all the players to, process what's going on and do what they need to do to feel, better about it, or just try to find a way to even just conceptualize or rationalize it so that they can move forward in some type of positive way. And I think as coaches we can really use our access with these young players to do just that and to help them grieve. So I want to make sure I said something because we all need to be saying something about this and finding ways to use our position to help out our younger players and our communities to really end racism and end police violence. And I think that we can do our part as basketball coaches and players to help out with that. So thanks very much. Enjoy this week's episode with an amazing guest, Mr. Frank Allocco Jr. Have a great day. Peace, everybody. Welcome back to episode 3 of Get Buckets with Coach Gus Gauntlett and friends. I'm joined by another incredible coaching guest this week. I have Frank Allocco Jr., who is the recently hired coach at Clayton Valley Charter School. This man's pedigree is extensively amazing and incredibly long. As a player, he was a state champion at Northgate High, went on to play at local St. Mary's here in Moraga, where they went to the NCAA tournament in 1997. And then his coaching career is equally as amazing. He was the coach de La Salle for 13 years, where they won 2 state championships here in California, and is now starting at Clayton Valley Charter School. He is also the director of basketball programs at ASA Hoops, which is also connected to their Prime AAU program, also based out of Walnut Creek. So clearly, Frank, you have given your life to this game, and I'm sure has given you many, many blessings as well. I want to say thank you for being on the show. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Also, just to make sure we're clear, my father was the head coach at De La Salle. I was his assistant. So just making sure he gets the credit for the wins there over at De La Salle. But I was his right-hand man for many years. So I'm happy to be on with you and looking forward to this. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I appreciate that clarification. I know if I went into your father's resume, I could talk for another couple of minutes. So I said, today I'm just going to focus on Frank Allocco Jr. for today. But I appreciate you being a great person, a great coach, and shouting out the head coach as well during that time.
Yeah, definitely. He was a mentor to me, so always got to give him credit.
100%. All right. Well, this show is real simple. We're going to get right into a couple of scoring plays. If our team was down by 1 with 10 seconds to go, Frank, you're up first. Show the people what you got.
All right, let me I thought about the question was kind of tough because for me it does depend a lot on your personnel a little bit. It depends on a lot. For me, I've always been a never been like too much of a set play guy. Like even the offenses I run and the offenses I run as a player and the system we had at De La Salle was very motion oriented. We had some things we wanted to get done, but the players ultimately kind of decided what they wanted to do and how they wanted to get there. So that's always kind of been our system. So in situations like this, for me, it's always very simple. I'm a big matchups guy. I know a lot of coaches don't like the NBA. I love the NBA. Like especially this time of the year. Like I just love how in the playoffs, just every little matchup starts to really matter. You know, if one guy can't cover someone, it really creates a problem. Where in the regular season, I don't think they focus on those things as hard because there's so many games and every game doesn't matter as much. But I know, like we talked earlier about De La Salle, my role there was kind of to, you know, in the heat of the moment, sometimes it's hard for the head coach to see all that. So I was always tugging on my father's coat, telling him, hey, Kyle has a mismatch or Justin has a mismatch. We would take advantage of that late in games. So that's kind of always been my philosophy. So I know kind of two plays that I would go to in a situation. I know my favorite as a player, certainly. I'll try to draw up here. I don't know if you can see this well.
Yep, that's
so
perfect.
We have, obviously, if I have a good point guard, okay, so my good point guard would have the ball, right? I just like the screener action, right? So I'm just going to use X's if you don't mind. I don't want to write upside down, write numbers. But, you know, I would have my best shooter kind of in the corner there. You know, if I have an elite shooter, he would be there. Probably your best two shooters in the corner, but I would put my best shooter strong side, right? And then just my point guard kind of using the screen. I like plays in this situation, especially with 10 seconds left. 10 seconds doesn't sound long, but you know, as someone who's been around the game a long time, that's an eternity for a good player and a smart team. So I like, you know, plays that have several options. So I don't want to just have one option and then if they stop it, okay, we're barfing a shot up. So, you know, in a play like this, I've got my point guard coming off a ball screen. He can attack the rim and score, or he can attack and kick if he sees an opening for our shooter. As that's going on, then we would kind of, you know, I was watching the Dallas Mavericks yesterday, by the way. They were doing this a ton late in the game against the Clippers, where then they would back screen that screener. So in this situation, and again, I think a lot of coaches like little on big screens. Mm-hmm. So it's certainly nice. Like I played with a guy in college, Eric Schrader at St. Mary's. He was the player of the year in our conference. And as you know, St. Mary's, pretty good conference, Gonzaga, you know, and certainly when I was in college, Gonzaga was starting to become an elite team. Well, Eric was the player of the year. He's a 6'9" guard. You know, he could play inside and out. So you would have me at 5'8" coming off Eric's screen at 6'9". Right away, there's a problem, you know, for the defense. Do you switch? Do you not switch? And then we would have our big guy kind of back screening for Eric now, you know, so you're kind of you got me coming off the screen. And if I don't have anything, I can stop. And then I got Eric, you know, drifting off that screen, you know, for a three on that side, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Right. So a little screener action. And then, of course, you know, the big guy could kind of slip at the end as well. So you just got a lot of options there. You've got again, assuming you have a point guard that can kind of run the show and make good decisions under pressure. So you've got your guy with the ball, you know, you've got a good shooter coming off. There's just a lot of different options. So that's always kind of been my go-to, of course, depending on personnel. But I really like that option, that look. The other one, if you don't mind, I'm going to show you too. Is that okay?
100%. Thank you so much.
This one we call the way drift. I actually stole this from the San Antonio Spurs a few years back. Popovich is
not a bad team to steal from.
Yeah, exactly. And he's known for, he did this on a sideline out of bounds play, and that's what he's pretty known for, is coming up with good stuff on the out of bounds plays. But I kind of turned this into a set play for us. So, and there's different ways we get to it, but I'm just going to show it kind of like, you know, we just do it 5 out, where I'm here, you know, however we want to do it. So I would have my best shooter. This would be a play I'd run if we're down 2, by the way. That's why I wanted to show it, if we need a 3. So my best shooter would be, you know, this guy up top. So he would kind of pass, and then we would double away. I call this a way drift. So he would set a staggered double away. Okay, and my spacing, I'm not an artist here, so sorry about my spacing. But then we would have this guy curl off tight. Okay, so again, if we're down 2, we might have him. Probably not, but maybe he'll get open on that curl. We'll get him for a layup. As he's curling off, okay, this guy if he's not open, this guy sprint dribbles across. This guy's coming across the top with the dribble. And then that first screener here is going to immediately turn around and drift screen this screener. So you have so kind of just draw that up, like I'll use numbers. I got my 3 in the corner. Let's say it's my 2. He's my best shooter, and my 4 is screening. Right. My 3 is curling off, and then my 4 is back screening my 2 for the 3. Sorry, I'm not holding that up. Does that make any sense? I don't know.
100%. Yep, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, we call that away drift, and that's always, I know at the youth level, I don't think at the AAU level defense is a strength for most teams. So, on a play like that, we're usually able to get a wide open look. It's a question of, can our guy knock that shot down or not?
Beautiful. And I mean, really, as a coach, that's your job ends before the shot goes up, right? You're trying to get the most open shot possible for your players, and then it's on them to make that bucket.
Yeah, definitely. You got to put your guys. Yeah, I think sometimes people overthink it a little bit. I think sometimes coaches want to be the smartest guy in the room, and instead of, as I said earlier, it's also mismatches. I'm thinking, you mentioned the state championships I've been a part of at the high school level. Well, at Northgate, I don't want to sound like I'm being cocky here, but at Northgate, if we got down to the final seconds of a quarter or the end of a game, it was 4 flat, and I had the ball up top, and I was going 1-on-1 trying to create. It wasn't our coach saying, let's come up with something complicated to make myself look good as a coach. It's we have a matchup we like, go take advantage of it. And at De La Salle, we had an out of bounds play. Sorry to go on and on, but I love this story. I think it's a good lesson for coaches. We had an out of bounds play at De La Salle called High, and you have a box set. I don't even need to draw it up. It's so simple. You have a box set, and your 2 bottom guys screen up for the elbow guys. They come off. So we ran High every game in summer league because we knew we would never need it in a real game. So we didn't want to run our real stuff against other teams in the summer when it didn't matter. Right. So we would run High every out of bounds play. So we get to the state championship. There's 3 seconds left. We're down 1. And we have this great player on our team named Joe C., who ended up playing at Oregon State and Santa Barbara. He was one of the best high school shooters I've ever seen in Northern California.
I was at Santa Barbara as a student when he transferred there, actually.
Okay, nice. Good. Yeah, great player for us. And so we, we're in the huddle, and coaches are trying to figure out what to run. And my father says, let's run High. And we're all thinking, we're going to run High. Like, that's the most simple play of all time. But that's what we went with. And my father went to the huddle, and he said, hey, we're going to run High. And when he told the team, you could see some of them kind of go like, huh? That's what you came up with? High? But he told the team, we're going to run the best High in the history of basketball. Our out-of-bounds passer, AJ Cool, who played at Air Force, AJ Cool, you're going to fake a pass, and really draw the defense and really make a great ball fake. Our screener, you're gonna fake in and set your man up just to get your guy a little out of position so he can't help on that screen. And Joe, you're gonna come out of the huddle and you're gonna talk to the other guy at the elbow and you're gonna say, hey, I'm coming to screen you. Be ready. Even though he want, so we're gonna set him up with our communication. Yes. We're gonna make this the greatest High ever in the history of sports. And it was. Joe came off the screen. His guy was late, got screened, and Joe took a shot, and the guy in his rush to catch up fouled Joe on the shot. So Joe went to the line and calmly made 2 free throws. We win the state championship. But it's a great story because, we went to the most fundamental play you could possibly run, but we knew we had a matchup we'd like with Joe, and Connor from Mueller was setting the screen for Joe, who played at Cal, big guy at Cal. So, we had a great screener, and we had a great guy and a great passer. And we ran a simple play and just executed it really well. So I think sometimes people overthink it a little bit, and I always try to avoid that.
Got you. Wow. Thank you for that story. I knew the story of Josie hitting the 2 free throws to win the state championship, but I didn't know how it came about. So I really appreciate you giving that background.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I also appreciate you sharing the screener action. Actually, in episode 1, the play that I shared was a screener action, and I'm also just a huge fan of it, especially when you can get some big men out on the perimeter, try and navigate going around screens, because they can get lost real quick, and you can create some great space.
Yeah, I love it just because there's so many options if you've got a good point guard. And like I said, I'm biased because of my teammate Eric. He's one of my favorite teammates of all time, but we used to play pickup we hated at St. Mary's. I don't want to say we couldn't wait for the season to end, but we loved playing pickup. We loved going to University of Cal, Berkeley, and playing at their open gyms, playing at our open gyms. When I was at St. Mary's, the Golden State Warriors were using our gym as a practice facility because their gym was getting redone. So we would play against Chris Mullen, Mark Price at that time, Chris Gatling, so they were at our open gyms. It was a great opportunity for us. But
that's a lot of pockets right there.
Yeah, for sure. But that was me and Eric used to annoy people because we would run that during open gyms, and it was hard to guard that. So I've always been biased to it.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that knowledge, Coach. I really, really appreciate you. All right. So, and I'm also, it's divine connection that you mentioned, the NBA. I'm also a huge fan and just appreciator of the skill level in the NBA. And I think when you watch the NBA, there's actually a lot of amazing X's and O's. Sure, it's usually a lot of quick hitters and just creating space and matchups. But there's actually one play that I watched about a week and a half ago, which inspired me. I'm gonna draw it up as they did it. It was out of an out of bounds play. This is from the LA Lakers. So whether it was Frank Vogel or someone in his staff who came up with this play, I'm not really sure. But it was beautiful. It was a tie game, out of bounds play with about 4 seconds left. And they got the game-winning 3 out of it.
Was it for Kuzma?
For Kuzma, yep.
I know the player you're talking about. Go
Absolutely.
ahead.
Just beautiful. So we had, LeBron. I'm going to put LeBron here as the 1, and I'm just going to put a star because this is the player that the rest of the team knows that if the game is on the line, as you were saying, maybe it was 1-4 flat with you with the ball, but if you're playing the LA Lakers and the game is on the line, 9 out of 10 times LeBron's going to have the ball in his hands to do something with it. So that's the beauty of this play, is that they use him as a decoy. So he inbounds the ball. It starts off with the 2 over here, 3 in the corner, 5 and the 4 down in the blocks. And before LeBron, if you want to hit the ball, start the play, before the ball is inbounded, you got the 4 setting the screen across for the 5. The 5, I could tell in the play, was actually supposed to come over that screen, but Plumlee was guarding Anthony Davis, and Plumlee really jammed hard, so Davis had to come around low, but he still ended up at the spot where he needed to be, which is right here off of the elbow. So he gets it here. The 2 and the 3 are pretty much just creating spacing, just to create some movement. I know Danny Green set it down screen. They kind of did a little exchange there. 5 gets the ball here. LeBron passes it into AD at the 5. And then right after Kuzma sets that cross screen, he's coming up here to the elbow. LeBron is going to run off this screen here from Kuz. And, 9 out of 10 times, the defense is going to keep their eyes on LeBron as he's coming off that screen. LeBron is going to dive to that opposite block, and Kuzma times it beautifully. Really a huge credit to him as well. The second, his man, who was it was Plumlee at that time as well, because Plumlee and Bol switched on this screen because they got hung up. Plumlee, he really wants to chug LeBron hard there. So the second he takes that step to chuck LeBron, Kuzma slips that with amazing quickness, comes off here. AD hits him with this pass, and at this point, Bol, who's 9'10", with the 12-foot wingspan, he's guarding AD, and so Plumlee's yelling for him to get out, but he has to get around AD. Kuzma has the open shot here. Bol comes out late, and he hits the open 3. So really just an amazingly quick hit. Like I said, there's 4 seconds left. I think by the time the shot went in, there was like 0.6 seconds left, or maybe even 0.4 seconds left. So I love the action. The slip is great from Kuzma, and even as a different options is important to have. Of course, if for any reason the Nuggets defense was incredible, and Plumlee stayed with Kuzma here, or somehow knew that he was going to slip it, you still do have LeBron coming off the screen from 6'9" Kuzma, who can, do some things around here, obviously, with the ball. Mm-hmm. So this could definitely be, entered in just as a regular play as well, not even if you do want to do out of bounds. If you just wanted to have, your 1 at the top, 4 and the 5 doing the same action, 2 and the 3, still have that down screen switch, still having your screen across. Maybe this time the 5 comes high, hard dribble, entry pass here. Then your 4 is coming up, setting the screen for LeBron to come down, and he's still slipping. So you can really get it done any way you'd like. I love how they did it on this side of the out of bounds. They just created a nice little isolation over here. And that's my play. Shout outs to the Vogel coaching staff. I definitely would love to add this to my arsenal, and I hope all the coaches out there can add this one too.
Yeah, definitely. What I love about that play too is I don't know. I know at our basketball camps and things we teach kids, I was taught this at a very young age that whenever you want to get yourself open, set a good screen. And
Yes.
so they went way back to the fundamentals, and it comes like it's just like you just drew up at the end there. If you did that out of a regular set instead of an out of bounds play, anytime you're setting a good back screen, you're probably going to get yourself open. And in some ways, basketball's gone away from that. So I'm sure that helps the Lakers, and that people aren't used to guarding that kind of action anymore because everything's so on-ball oriented now with ball screens and everything. So it's good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coach, thank you so much. I'm hopeful for the season. Last I heard that the season has been moved to the spring for the high school basketball season. So I'm really hoping that stays and you get your first season at Clayton Valley. And how are you feeling about this new opportunity?
It's good. It's gone really well. I was very nervous to do it, to be honest. I really love the work I do at the youth level. It's very rewarding, and the reason I got into coaching was to seeing all the lives my father changed as a coach. We're really big believers in using basketball as a tool to teach life skills.
Yes.
And so working with the young players, you just really see them change. When you work with a fourth grader from fourth to seventh grade or whatever it is, you can see significant strides both on and off the court, and that's very rewarding. And so our program is very large and it's a lot of work, and I'm very hands-on. So I didn't think I'd coach at the high school level ever again. But Clayton's a school, I grew up in Concord down the street from Clayton, and it's always been on my radar, and they've got a great group of guys. And so that's been the most rewarding thing is they've really bought in to the program, the changes we're trying to make. And it's been a unique off season, obviously, with social distancing, and we've followed all guidelines. We've only done shooting, no shared, we can't even pass to each other or rebound for each other. But in some ways, as a first-year coach, it's kind of been a good way to kind of, like, instead of running around and playing tournaments on weekends, we've been able to just focus on culture, which is the most important thing, So it really has given us an opportunity to I think, focus on the right things. So in some ways, it's been an opportunity, and I think even with the season moving back, it's gonna give us an extra, if we have a season, it gives us an additional amount of time to hopefully, build that culture, build that relationship up before the season starts. So I'm excited about it. And, we got a pretty good group. So it's going to be interesting if we can get it rolling.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely be looking out for you. And again, thank you for your time and everything you've done for the game and continue to do for the game of basketball. And thank you for joining Get Buckets, and good luck. Have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you very much for having me.
LeBron to inbound. HDF is on him. Anthony Davis picked up by Bull. Here comes Kuzma for the win. Got it!